Today's video is about bringing home your new puppy. What things do you need? What do you need to prepare in order to have things run as smoothly as possible? It's always better to have things ahead of time, and that way you're not scrambling at the last minute. So I have put together a checklist that I'm going to go through with you today with the actual items, so that you can see exactly what you have your own piece of paper in front of you while you put together your own stuff when you bring home your own puppy. So it'll be a free download. The link will be below in the description underneath this video. So these are all the items I've collected from our own house, so we can go through the checklist and you can actually see the items, and then you can also make adjustments to your own list. Write in what you need. I have a couple things I think here that are not even on the list, but I just brought them to show you anyways. So first on our list we have the collar, leash, and harness. You don't really want to pick up your puppy without a collar, and you'll have to sort of guess by the breed you're picking up what size you're going to need ahead of time. We also have a harness here, although I do suggest that you get the harness after you bring your puppy home and you go and try it on them when you buy it. You don't really, I mean, you could always buy one and then bring it back and return it in exchange, but it might be easier just to bring the puppy with you and go buy it once you once you have the puppy home. And the leash, we have the leash here as well. There's thicker leashes, there's some that match. We have the design that matches. This is a silverfoot leash and harness, and we have a collar that matches too. This collar is actually a different collar than what we actually have on our dog right now. And then the next thing on the list is the ID tag. There's many different kinds. You can order some online. And you can, there we go. You can order plastic, metal, different designs. You can put different information on it. We just had our pet's name and phone number. So yeah, it's really up to you what you want. You can put your address on there, anything you want really. And food and water bowls and the food. So this is our food and water bowl. I just washed them so I could bring it over and use it in the film, in the video. We have a small dog. Jin's quite small, so we can use these smaller ones, but of course there's larger ones, so pick whatever size you feel you're going to need for your breed, because the puppies do grow quite quickly. So even if you want something small for the first bit, you'll eventually need to get something bigger anyways. And then the food, this is the food we use for our puppy. It's not the food that came with the puppy. We decided to switch. He loves this food. He's pretty picky about his food, so we had to get something with a higher protein because that's what he prefers. So that's what we ended up getting. The next thing on the list is toys, chew toys, balls, squeaky toys, etc., and treats, training treats and chew treats. Okay, so these are the balls that we have for him. Pretty much almost every dog likes to chase the balls. Whether they bring it back or not is a whole other story, of course. But these little ones are Kong tennis balls, and they're actually squeaky. And the puppy loves them. It gets their attention when we want them to bring it back. So we usually use 2 to play fetch. Keep one on us to entice him to come back and bring the other one all the way back. Which still doesn't work all the time, but anyways. And then there's this one, which is really good. It's a rubber ball, so they're fairly indestructible. And the dogs love chewing on those. That one's a little bit big for him, but he still likes trying to grab onto it. And then we have a rope toy, which is really good for teething and flossing, and he just loves trying to throw it around. There was a time where that was almost as big as him, so it was quite funny watching him try and drag it around, but now he's able to carry it pretty well. But he loves chewing on it, flinging it. Then the other thing we have here, I mentioned the treats. These are really good chew treats. They're veal chew sticks. He loves them very much. There are other versions. There's vegetarian versions of chew treats from different companies, so there's quite a few, but when a puppy's teething, it's so much better to give them something to chew on besides furniture or hands or clothing, so that's been a really good option for us. And then there's our training treats. We break these into really small pieces, and we use this to teach him tricks and do any training with him. So those have been really handy. There's also a whole host of treats out there that are not chicken base. I know some people like to stay away from chicken because chicken can be a high allergy type of food. But usually allergies in dogs don't come out till they're a little bit older, usually. Our last dog had allergies to just about everything, so I have a lot of experience with that. But yeah, the next thing on our list is bed, blanket, crate. Bed, blanket, and crate. Well, this is our bed here. We have this stuff sitting in it, but he loves this bed. He chews on it and needs it because he's still quite a baby. You can also just use blankets folded up, which I don't have a blanket here, but I mean, really, you can use just about any blanket you have in the house and just fold it up into about this size, and they can lay on that as well. That works just as easily. So that's bed, blanket, and the crate. I will insert a picture of a crate after this. The crate is on the other side. We have quite a large crate because it's from our last dog. And Jin is really not in a crate very often. Although I do suggest crate training if you can't be home all the time for the use of potty training and behavioral training. Crate training can be a lifesaver. The next thing we have on our list is pet carrier and the X-Pen or the Playpen. The pet carrier, we have two that we really like using. This is really for puppies and smaller dogs. We have the Pet at Work carrier and the Marsupac. We actually, in our videos, we do pet product reviews also, and we've actually done a review on each of these bags, and then in the description for each of these bags review, there is a link for more information and where you can find the bag and purchase it. So you can always check out the reviews, our video reviews for those. They've been super helpful. And then the other one was the X-Pen. I will insert a picture here so you can see the playpen. We're using our playpen in different ways. We've sort of spread it out to barrier off certain areas. And so it's not actually set up as an X-Pen, playpen sort of idea, but those can be extremely helpful when you need to keep your puppy contained in a certain area. We then have the brush, comb, nail clippers, and brush and the comb. We have this brush that we use right now. This has little white heads on it to, depending on the coat of the dog, you may or may not want those little plastic white heads. They're usually quite good for puppies so they can get used to it without the metal can be a little unnerving at first. There are puppy slickers that are like this with metal pins and without the white heads on them. And they're like a softer metal. Larger dog slickers are usually a little bit sturdier, a little firmer. And we also have in our bag of tricks here a comb. So there's the brush and the comb used for grooming. And then the next thing on the list was the nail clippers. Nail clippers. Right now we're getting the vet to do the nail clipping, but with Harley I used to do them all the time. His nails were a little bit thicker, but he liked it when he was younger. He actually loved being groomed, and he would fall asleep with me grooming him when he was younger, but as he got older it bothered him more and more. So, but anyways, when they're younger it's a great idea. It's a good bonding experience to groom your own dog, at least some of it, if you can get away with it. And start them early, because if you wait until later to do any grooming with them, they will probably fight it. Quite often they will fight it if you don't start early. So those are the clippers, and then the styptic powder is, here it is, styptic powder. Now that is if you cut the nail too short and you cut into the quick, you can put some of this powder on the tip of the nail to stop it from bleeding. Very handy to have when you're cutting your own nails. Okay. Okay, next thing on our list is scissors, ear cleaner, and cosmetic pads. So for scissors, we have, I was using these. They're not really pet hair cutters, but they are self-sharpening. So those worked really well. You need to trim. Quite often you don't want to go for a full grooming, and you may just need to trim the hair around the eyes or around the bum or around the paws, or if they hurt themselves, or if you want to check something, you may need to just cut hair in a certain area. So it's always handy to have hair cutting scissors that you can use, and these are Stay Sharp. And then ear cleaner and cosmetic pads. Now for ear cleaner, we just use saline. All my dogs in the past, for some reason, found the ear cleaner itself, like more actual ear cleaners, to be, a lot of them say that they're soothing and they have, like, you know, soothing elements to them, but I found my dog's ears get really red with a lot of the cleaners and can get irritated. I mean, every animal's different though, so there is really good ear cleaners out there. You can get them from the veterinarian or at the pet store. However, we just use the saline. And then we use cosmetic pads. I don't use cotton balls because they fray apart so easily and you don't want stuff getting stuck in your dog's ears. So we use cosmetic pads and or Q-tips. But using Q-tips, you have to be very, very careful because you can't go too deep with a Q-tip. And obviously you can't go deep with these, so we just use these most of the time. So those are really handy, I find. Oh, one quick mention. This is an ear powder for dogs that have a really oily, waxy ears. There's a powder you can put in the ears to help dry them out so they don't overproduce the wax, because that can cause infections, especially in warmer weather. So I actually just wanted to show you that as well. But that's not, you know, you don't need that. It's not necessary until you know your dog better. But I just thought I'd let you know those are options. Next on our list is shampoo and conditioner and towels. Okay, so shampoo. I don't use conditioner. I never did, but I do have shampoo. This one is a natural pet oatmeal shampoo. Like I mentioned before, my last dog had a lot of allergies, so he would get skin infections really easy when he was younger, and he had a lot of allergic type issues. So we used this shampoo. And we did not shampoo him very often. The most often you should shampoo your dog is once a month. If you shampoo them too often, you will strip away the natural oils in their coat, and that will actually make them itchier and cause them to overproduce oils in their coat, so they don't balance out properly. So once a month at the most. I didn't even shampoo him that often, but again, he had a lot of skin issues, so I had to be really careful. Keep his hair short all the time and stuff. So again, I don't use conditioner, and I didn't bring a towel to put here. Everybody's got towels at home. There's no specific towel. Next on our list is puppy toothbrush, finger brush, and dog toothpaste. Okay, so for dog toothbrush and toothpaste, this is a finger brush. You put it on your finger. And you put it on your finger and you go into your dog's mouth and you brush back and forth all over their teeth. And that's to get them used to the fact of having a toothbrush in their mouth at all. Plus it actually feels kind of good for them to be chewing on the rubber. So you're helping groom them, train them, and desensitize them all at the same time. So that's the puppy toothbrush, or for small dogs, you can use that as well. And then there's the actual dog toothbrush for adult dogs, which is this. Hard to see, maybe I'll hold it over the white. So it's kind of like ours, but you know, it's bent in a way that it's easier to get into your dog's mouth because the back teeth can be awkward to get to. There's also different brushes that, you know, are split down the middle and have brush tongs or the bristles on two sides. They're specialized toothbrushes to get all sides of the dog's teeth at once. Anyways, that's one option, or another option. Depending on the size of your dog, it just wants to roll like that, okay? And then the toothpaste, you need to make sure you use dog toothpaste. This is the one we got in the kit right now. There are multiple different types of toothpaste, also different flavors. So the next thing on our list is the actual veterinarian checklist. You can ask the breeder or the vet if you're seeing the vet at pickup time Depends if you even meet the vet that's done the initial checkups, etc. So you're going to want to ask the breeder and the vet, was the first checkup done already? Is the first set of puppy vaccinations done, and how long ago? Have you dewormed them at all yet? Have they gotten any flea medications yet? Is microchipping or tattooing part of this deal? Have they been microchipped or tattooed already? And vet records. They usually provide you with sort of a passport like this. Every puppy I've had almost has come with something similar. And it's just a record of their vaccinations and anything of note that the vet can fill out when you bring them. And that way you can keep a nice clean record. And then there's a pocket here that sometimes there will be stuff in there. We have the tag, the vet card, and the tag from microchipping, because he got microchipped as part of our deal with the breeder. And the last thing comes directly from the breeder. They usually give you food that they've had the puppy weaned onto when they wean them off the mother's milk. They will usually give you a blanket smell or the sibling smell, so that the first couple nights at home the puppy has a comforting smell on the blanket that you can let them sleep with. It can be pretty stressful for a puppy to leave their family, and having that smell around can be very comforting because a dog's sense of smell is so strong. Again, the vet records I've mentioned, and make sure you get a receipt for the purchase of your puppy too. So a couple other things I don't have on the list, but I wanted to mention to you anyways, are just a couple quick training aids. Puppies like to chew a lot. There are deterrents that you can use, such as bitter apple. There are other things as well. This one's just a spray. You can do a lot of Googling on things that you can use too. Sometimes they say you can use Tabasco or different types of powder and stuff, but it depends on you if you're using it inside, outside, what kind of furniture. You know, some of these sprays leave a bit of residue, so if you spray it on something, you might wreck it. Depends. There's always explanations on the bottle, but that's something that can be really handy because puppies, they teeth and they chew, and it's natural, so you have to expect it. And so deterrents can be very useful. And the other thing is a long line. So in the beginning, it's very helpful to have your puppy on a leash almost constantly, especially if you're going to do any training outside so they can't get away from you. So a long line provides excess room for them to run, but you're still able to reach them or stop them in case of an emergency or just for training purposes in general. Okay, so I hope this checklist has been very useful for you. Again, you can find the link to download this checklist and print it off in the description below. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below this video and I will get back to you. I answer everybody. Bye.